I'm Kev.
And I'm Steve.
And we're from the internet.
Want an extra episode of We're From The Internet every week? Head over to we'refromtheinternet.com/bonus to get an exclusive weekly bonus episode 100% free.
Hi Kev, hi Steve. Do you give money to beggars?
Did you ask him? If we say yes, is he going to turn up outside my house with a flat cap, with a scrunched up fiver in there to make it look like people give paper money, and then 2p, because that's all anyone ever really gives?
See,
do they sweeten their own pot? Do they put that fiver in themselves?
I don't know, but I do sometimes, right? And I felt really bad at Christmas because I was in McDonald's in town, and my daughter was starving. We were going to get her just a quick burger.
So you had 4 or 5.
No, we weren't going to eat there because it wasn't very nice.
You weren't going to, but you still did.
No, we didn't. But this guy came up to me while we were changing my son's trousers or some nonsense, and this guy walks up and just goes,
"McDonald's sell trousers now?"
No, but this guy was like, "You got 20p?" And I was like, I just didn't even listen to what he said. I was like, "No." And he went to my wife and was like, "Oh, excuse me, have you got 50p?" And I'm thinking, "Hang on a minute, this has doubled." Anyway, but she just didn't understand. She was too busy again.
Someone's got the squeeze on this, man. The debt's rising all the time.
And so we both just mugged him off, and then we saw him wandering around. And then I was like, I just realised what he was saying. Like, I wasn't even paying attention. I was too busy dealing with the faff of my son. So we were standing there thinking, like, it's Christmas Eve or whatever it was, 2 days before Christmas. Blokes wandering around in the snow or whatever, really cold, begging bloody money off people. I said, "I've got a fiver. I could have just bought him a burger or something." And we felt awful. So we went around looking for him. He'd gone. We were all disappointed.
Dead, probably.
Probably died of starvation. But yeah, we felt so awful then. And I was like, right, we need to be like rebalancing the universe because I feel really bad now.
I've never seen you give money to anyone on the street, and we've walked past lots of people begging for money.
Well, the reason why I don't always do it, because this one was asking me. No, because she didn't care until I started saying I feel bad. But I once bought someone a sandwich from Boots and gave it to them because they were sat on the street saying, like, I'm hungry, so I was a little sign. And I handed them it, they opened it and then threw it at me. Because they only wanted money for drugs, basically, was the gist of it.
They could have swapped a sandwich for drugs, surely.
I don't know, I basically handed them it, they lobbed it at me and told me to F off.
They shouldn't have opened it, that's their problem. Yeah. If they'd have kept it in the pack, they could have taken it back to
All I saw was like a sandwich fly over my head. Because
they missed? How far away were you?
I gave it to him.
It shows what drugs do to people if they can't hit a man with a sandwich from 2 yards away.
I gave it to him and I was like, there you go, have that, keep your strength up, something like that, Carried on walking, and then just sandwich goes over my head, F off, and I just thought, well, and
see, I've never given money to someone who's just sort of sat there, unless I need him to perform for me. I'll buy the big issue. I regularly buy that, and then just throw it away because it's.
See, that always makes you feel uncomfortable. Sometimes I buy it because if I'm on a train and I think, there's something to read, but a lot of the time I just think, I don't know if I agree with
them having jobs.
No. What I mean is like. I don't know, it's just like they're not getting as much out of it. I looked into it, they don't get as much out of it as you'd want them to. It's like...
Well, no, you have to pay for the magazine to be made. Don't they buy the magazine for like 70p and then sell it on for £1.50 or something like that? I can't
remember, there was something that put me off of
That's going to tell everyone how long it's been since I actually bought the big issues, because it's probably £6.
Sometimes they scare the hell out of me. I got on a train once, bloke walks on, and just yells like, "Ladies and gentlemen, listen up," or something like that. And I just thought, oh, here we go. We're all going to be hijacked now. Like, the way he's shouting with all these backpacks on him and stuff. And I genuinely thought he was about to just blow us all to Kingdom Come. And then he just started selling the big issue. Everyone went back to reading their papers. But,
also, street performers I'll give them money for. If they're playing the banjo, or if they're doing some juggling or a bit of dancing, those people you get in Covent Garden who can fly, I always give them a 20p piece, a shiny one.
When you've got a kid as well, they always want to give money to people, so I'm always giving my kids money to chuck in.
Yeah, but I think if someone's just sat there with the ice cream tub in front of them with a scrunched up fiver and a load of 2p's, I'll give it to a beggar who's going to earn it and dance for me.
There was that thing McDonald's were doing that I was really tempted to get stuck into, but I didn't think the town...
Well, it's a new burger.
Hear me out. No, they were letting you, if you brought in a voucher, you could get a free burger, and people were...
you were all over that,
No, people were photocopying them and then getting 80 burgers and going out and handing them to people on the streets. And if you were doing that for yourself, then obviously they were like, oh, no, you can't do that. But they turned a blind eye when you said, I'm doing this for the homeless people outside.
So you could say that and then eat them all yourself?
I could have done, but I wouldn't have. I'd have been the nice person. But
you'd have had 4 or 5.
Our local one in Peterborough didn't do the deal, so it was no good to man nor beast.
There's about 8 in Peterborough. Did you try them all?
No, the one I'm talking about is the one in Queensgate.
Interesting. So you didn't try that hard.
No, because that was the one surrounded by homeless people.
Well, if you'd have said to him, look, come to the 1/4 of a mile away, I'm giving burgers away in 10 minutes.
I'm not going to be like the piper of homeless folk.
Yeah, just play your flute and then hand them a burger.
If it was that simple.
And then you get burgers thrown at you because it's not drugs.
I remember, because in London it's always great if you want to get travel on the underground. All the homeless there have big piles of all-day travel cards that they've picked up off the floor. So instead of paying used to be something like 15 quid, 10 quid to travel on the underground, you give them a £5 for a second-hand one, and they'd go about their merry way.
All the times we've been to London together, why have you never suggested that to me?
Because, to be honest, I've only just really remembered it. When I lived down there, when we went to London all the time, that was how we got around London. We wouldn't buy a expensive first-hand one. We'd find a homeless person and give them the money.
Do people still use those travel cards?
I'm not even sure with the old Oyster. That might have ruined the homeless underground.
Yeah, I imagine there's no homeless people left in London now.
Oh.
They've all moved on to somewhere where they still have all-day travel cards.
There's that famous homeless person that ran around Ferry Meadows, wasn't there?
Nobby,
yeah,
lived in Peterborough for many years in a bus shelter. He just decided to become homeless as well. He was a teacher. Very well. He's a teacher who just one day thought, you know what, I've had enough of this, and just went to live in a bus shelter, and just lived there for like 20 years.
Is he the person they sang the song Nobby All about? His name was Nobby All, you know it, yeah?
No.
Only had one finger.
I imagine that was someone called Nobby Hall, rather than Nobby the tramp.
Is
it okay to call them tramps these days?
I don't know, hobo, drifter.
Is there a politically correct
I remember
term
seeing one when I was a kid that made me scared of homeless people because he was this big bloke who slept outside the local library.
That into books. Why didn't he sleep in the library? Do libraries close?
I don't know, but he slept outside our local library, and when I saw him one morning, he had snot all over his face, but it was like hardened, and he just had green frozen snot all over his face, and he looked really scary and ill. And
did you kiss him on the cheek when you first met him?
I remember feeling really sick and I must have been like 7, probably one of my earliest memories. But
why didn't you just wipe his face?
Why didn't I?
No, why didn't you?
I don't know.
You or him? Either of you could.
Well, I was just walking past and saw him and just thought that poor bloke.
Why didn't you wipe his face?
Was scared, petrified of him.
Why didn't you wipe his face with a sandwich?
I imagine he'd given up.
Wiping his face?
No, on life, I imagine. He was sleeping outside the library for a living.
Yeah, he was getting a book. I don't think he was doing it for a living. I don't imagine the library paid him. You know what this library's missing? A homeless man with snot all over his face.
The thing is,
living on our doorstep.
He was quite a hefty-looking man. And thinking back now, he was sleeping... The library was next to a kebab shop.
I'd sleep outside that.
Well, technically he was.
You can't sleep outside some shops now in London, can you? Because they've got those anti-homeless people.
Yeah, harsh spikes and stuff.
Yeah, that's just really evil. Why? I don't really see why that's necessary. Are they doing that much? I mean, to be fair, I'd put one outside my house, obviously. That one.
It's a shame they don't have more shelters outside the library, ones, isn't it? I mean, how hard is it to just build a massive?
I mean, you've always had a policy of homeless people are welcome to your garage, haven't you?
Yeah, I live whatever your address is. I'll remember it.
iTunes Towers, America. You just turn up in America and say, "Look, I'm here to live at iTunes." Then you'll be taken care of. I promise. Want to get your question answered on a future episode of We're From The Internet? Head over to we'refromtheinternet.com/question. Tweet your questions at KevinSteve. Email kevinsteve@gmail.com or post them at facebook.com/KevinSteve. Or even leave them in the comments for this episode.